Jambareeqi here with a quick announcement. I'm going to be hosting a few panels at the British anime convention Alcon this September in Leicester. Head to the official Alcon website now to book a place. You only have a few weeks left. It's an awesome event featuring fun activities, live bands, anime screenings, cosplay contests, and much more. Other guests at Alcon will include such talents as Brental Floss, Marzco X, Little Karibo, and Giguk. I encourage you to attend because it's my first ever panel and the only con I'll be going to this year. Thank you. Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. Chimpanzees and many other animals have been sent into space many times before, to test communication or survival potential. While these flights have been called scientific breakthroughs, you could also consider them to be acts of animal cruelty, seeing as these animals were unwittingly put in dangerous and risky positions. In 2008, Kirk D'Amico, the co-director of The Croods, made a movie inspired by chimpanzee spaceflight. Space Chimps is an American CGI animated sci-fi comedy. After a space department loses a rover inside a wormhole, a group of chimpanzees are chosen to test the wormhole's safety. These animals include Ham III, who is the grandson of the first primate in space, a chimp called Luna, and a commander called Titan. Once sent in the wormhole, they land on a strange planet, where a grumpy alien called Zartog has started using the rover to dominate the planet and enslave its inhabitants. Will this team of simian astronauts be able to stop Zartog and get back home safely? Talk about underwhelming! This movie is boring, obnoxious, and tedious. It either tries too little or tries too hard. Where do I begin with this snoozer? Well, this film isn't as funny as it thinks it is. It constantly throws gags and jokes at the audience, but barely any of them work. I mean, I only laughed 2 or 3 times while watching this movie. That's not much of a reaction to a feature-length comedy. This film desperately forces itself to be funny, and it can get incredibly embarrassing. It's like watching a stand-up act performed by your awkward drunk uncle at a family wedding. This movie goes way too fast too. Insanely fast, in fact. It tells its story at a breakneck speed, overambitiously establishing ideas and information faster than a firing bullet. This makes it really hard to get invested in the story or connect with the characters, because so much flies by. I mean, what was the director snorting when he pitched the narrative for Space Chimps? Now, the planet that the chimps visit is kind of unique. It has colourful strange creatures and weird exotic plant life. However, because the movie rushes itself, we don't get much of a chance to take in the planet's atmosphere and the oddities it has to offer. These monsters, creatures, and plants whiz by really fast. Sure, the talking aliens get plenty of attention, but everything else takes a back seat. It's a shame because this planet's world is the only interesting thing about the whole movie. Okay, so let me explain Space Chimps in a nutshell. There are 2 sides to this movie. One side focuses on Ham and Luna as they run across the planet at breakneck speed. The other side focuses on Zartog and Titan. These scenes are incredibly repetitive. The pattern goes like this. Zartog threatens Titan with his rover's claws. Titan then says, if you let me live, then I'll teach you something the rover can do. Then, Titan teaches something the rover can do to Zartog. Zartog uses this new lesson he's been taught to once again threaten Titan. Rinse and repeat. And I mean, rinse and repeat. Goes on and on and on. It's so boring. This movie as a whole is so boring, so draining, so annoying, so painful.
That was lovely. Oh no. Now I've got to carry on reviewing Space Chimps. It's gonna hurt so much.
Ham the Third is a former circus performer turned astronaut. I found him to be very, very, very irritating. He never shuts up, he's selfish, he's narcissistic, and he's always bragging or hitting on Luna. The film seems to think that his obnoxious arrogance comes off as charming. Not at all. It is possible to write a cocky character and make him likeable or at least entertaining, but Ham the Third is way too hard to tolerate, so I can't look over his selfishness and egotism. Plus, the film reveals his inner feelings in a very brief scene that's forced and rushed. The nerve of this film to expect us to sympathise with him just because he quickly opened up to the audience. In addition, he has one funny line, but then he ruins the joke by milking it. While I like that Ham uses his circus skills to adapt to the planet's environment, I really didn't like his personality. I was never charmed by him. He's too insufferable. Luna is pretty much the token girl character. While she does show an interest in space and a passion for being an astronaut, it's hard to deny that her only reason for being in this film is to serve as Ham's love interest. I'm pretty sick of this. Why does there always have to be a love interest in these movies? Can't a man and a woman just be friends or professional acquaintances? The token girl role limits Luna's personality, and her relationship with Ham is way too predictable. She hates him at first, but gradually falls for his annoying charm, blah 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 blah, I've seen it all before, yawn. Titan is the commander of the Space Chimps. I found it difficult to pin down what his personality is supposed to be. He's really confident and he likes using puns. That's about it. There's nothing much to him. He's not that funny and he's not that interesting. At least he's not as painfully irritating as Ham 3, I guess. Zartog, the film's villain, is possibly the most boring antagonist I've ever seen in an animated movie. He's not funny, he's not entertaining, he's nothing. The movie tells his backstory in less than a minute, so it's hard to connect to his motives or interests. One moment he's a cranky alien who lives on his own in a hut, 30 seconds later he's a mighty conqueror with mechanical claws. How can I get invested in his evil plans when I know nothing about him? Zartog is just a generic, power-hungry bad guy who looks like a bigger version of the other aliens. Now, you're probably wondering what I thought of the supporting characters. Well, I don't really have much to say about them. They're just as forgettable as the main characters. On the other hand, some people might like these other characters. There's a cute little alien called Kilowatt that you may find adorable, and the space team is kind of amusing from time to time. It's just that personally, I don't think that I'm going to remember these characters after I finish making this review. They'll most likely fade from my memory. Space Chimps was animated by Vanguard Animation, the same company that produced Valiant. The animation for this film seems like it's been held back a bit. You see, there are lots of wacky moments in this movie, but the movements are kind of restrained. Sure, the animators have tried to be lively and expressive, but their attempts at being goofy and cartoony fall flat. The facial expressions, gestures, and reactions aren't exaggerated enough to support the comedy. I think this is what makes a lot of the visual gags fail miserably. The animation just doesn't bolster the slapstick, comedic delivery, or physical humour. And seeing as this is a comedy, that's a severe problem. Andy Samberg voices Ham. Now, I love Andy Samberg. I'm a big fan of Lonely Island, and I thought Samberg was great in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. However, Samberg is just okay as Ham. He's not bad or anything, he's just not in his A-game. His distinct manic energy is really downplayed, but he does sound convincingly cocky in the role, through confident delivery.
Yeah, oh my.
Hello, Lady Chimp. Do not mind if I dooble. Luna means moon in Latin.
Cheryl Hines voices Luna. She does an okay and passable job. She can sound mature and focused for Luna's serious lines, or sincere and caring for Luna's heartfelt dialogue. She's good, I guess.
Lieutenant's log.
Choking.
Air is breathable.
Gasping.
The temperature is normal.
Dying. winning Daytime Emmy.
And there is no sign of intelligent life.
Blech.
Ham,
You know, all that back there, it was just the cloud talking, so...
it's okay. Sometimes the conflict between the superego and the id can cast a long shadow in the soul.
Patrick Warburton voices Titan. While Warburton's deep timbre tone fits Titan's brawny design, I feel like his distinct voice has gone to waste because the material isn't hilarious enough. He has one funny line in the whole movie. Guys, you've got Patrick Warburton in your film. Make him say more funny things.
Listen and learn, Zelig. The PR-513I is a high-performance, all-purpose space exploration vehicle. Rough, rugged, and ready, the engineers have outfitted her with defense systems for every situation. And the 60 million kilowatt internal nuclear power plant guarantees she's always got enough juice to get the tough jobs done.
Jeff Daniels voices Zartog. Despite being stuck with a really forgettable character, Daniels does a decent job. He can sound goofy for comedic moments and sinister for threatening lines. Unfortunately, Daniels' performance can't change how boring Zartog is.
You monster!
If I could catch you, punk, I'd dunk you in the Fresnar, too.
No wonder why everyone in town hates you.
Just the way I like it.
The music for this film, which was composed by Chris Bacon, is not terrible or horrible to listen to. It does what it's required to do by shifting moods to fit the tone of each scene. It's just not that impressive or amazing. I didn't feel emotionally connected to Bacon's music. It does what it can for the film, but it doesn't leave much of an impact. Maybe other audience members will get more invested in this music than I did. I mean, it does a good job sounding courageous and uplifting during heroic scenes. Like I said, it's not bad, it just didn't leave a big impression on me. It's too generic and plain, it lacks any imagination or identity. It's missing the inventive passion to draw me in. To conclude, Space Chimps is a boring, obnoxious, tedious and underwhelming movie. It goes by way too fast, it's not as funny as it thinks it is, and it has a cast of forgettable characters. I really don't recommend watching it, you'll just end up feeling unsatisfied and very annoyed. I'm going to give this film 1¼ strawberries out of 5. However, if you enjoyed such titles as The Croods or Monsters vs. Aliens, then you might get a little something out of Space Chimps. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope you enjoyed my review. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and I encourage you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. In the next episode, I'm going to review The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Cheerio, folks.